Yes, well, welcome, Jessica. I guess we should just describe ourselves. Tell each of our audiences who we are, and then we're just gonna go and jam on rich and famous, manifesting that. I love to call it. It is the bad and bougie lifestyle. So Jessica, tell everyone more about you.
Yes. Ciao, Michelle, and ciao, everybody in her audience and my audience as well, if you're watching us here on the replay or live stream. So, I'm Jessica Fabrizi, known as JFab. I'm a personal PR strategist and a global super connector. And so, what does personal PR mean? It means it's basically public relations for personal brands. And here on Instagram and on Facebook, I especially work with coaches. So, this is what I do. And I've got my whole methodology, which maybe we can talk about. And I've been doing this for 2.5 years. Prior to that, I was in corporate PR and I was working for Singapore Airlines the last few years of my career. And before that, long time in the automotive industry. Yes, so this is me. Is there anything that I should tell? Anything else that I should tell to your audience?
No, I think that's perfect. And I'm Christine Michelle. I am a former corporate executive for 20 plus years with Victoria's Secret and Coca-Cola Company and a lot of those bigger companies. I've been a best-selling author, and I also am all about helping my clients manifest and create the most amazing businesses but total lives. That's what's it's all important about their total life being amazing. And so I talk about quantum queens having bad and bougie lifestyles. And, so I've had clients create $1 million years, $1 million over 2 years, and things like that. And because that is what's possible when you remember that there are no limitations. And so I'm really excited. I see Sophie here, I see Katie here, and it'll be great to just have. I know when Jessica asked me to do this live, I was really like, oh, what do we talk about? And she was like, yes, let's do this manifesting rich and fabulous, because that is what we do. Like, that is both of ours, like, really, really core skill set. And so I'm really excited to talk about what even rich and famous and fabulous means to you,
Mm.
and what have you done in your own life to create that for you and what you do for your clients.
Okay. First of all, I have to apologize because I think that a few seconds ago I said Michelle instead of Christine
Oh,
Michelle. Right? So sometimes I'm like, is it Christine Michelle or Michelle Christine? So I wasn't sure. Sorry about that. First of
that's
all.
okay. It's two names. Michelle is my middle name. Christine is my first name. You can use either one.
Right. Perfect. That's great. Thank you so much for the flexibility. Yes, and talking about names, actually, my surname is already fabulous. That's why I
I
call
love.
myself JFab. Because it's Jessica Fabrizi, right? So Fab
Oh,
is the first few letters of. So it's sold already for me. I'm already fabulous by surname, by definition. No, it's not true. I actually don't talk a lot about being fabulous. Just probably my name that makes people think about being fabulous as well. But it's certainly something that, if we are rich and famous, which are the things that I usually talk about, I think that we're going to be fabulous as well. Or actually, that's not going to be the consequence of being rich and famous, but actually, it's a precursor of being rich and famous. If you are fabulous, then you're going to become rich and famous, which I think has a lot to do with manifestation. Because if you're already your fabulous higher self, then you are going, of course, to yield the results. What do you think, Christy Michelle?
yeah. Well, thank you, Jessica Fabrizi. Yeah, I feel like fame is it's something. There's two ways to look at it.
Mm,
There is the fame that there's a certain it factor that I feel like a lot of us are born with, right? You come out of the
mm,
womb and you're like, woo! And that's just something that is just natural and it comes natural, right? And
mm,
then there is the piece where you decide to proactively align with that fabulosity, with the fame, with that piece of being, that fame. I love to call it fame, fortune, and fulfillment. When you decide that that just gets to be your alignment,
yeah,
right? And so I feel like a lot of the people that I've worked with in the transformation industry and the clients that really hit it, a lot of them were born that way and they recognize that and they like, I have this it factor and I've decided it. And we've chosen careers that really play up to that it factor, right? Because not
mm,
everyone wants to be, on doing live streams, on stages, like doing things, dealing with celebrities, those kind of things, or being the celebrity, right? Not a lot of us want to do that, but there's something that's within you when you decide you are a natural born leader, you are self-led, you've decided that you have that it factor. That plays a big role in what you're attracting in your life. But number two, even if you weren't born like that, and even if it isn't natural for you, you can decide and you'll align and match with the frequency of that too.
Definitely, absolutely, yes. And probably this is something that you activate in people as well. Maybe they think they don't have it by nature, by birth, from their birth, but they have this desire, and so they come to you and they said, okay, how can I activate this? And then you have all of your amazing techniques and tricks and magic in order to activate that, right? Is it something that
Yeah,
often, yeah, that you that people come to you for a lot, often?
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know what I also love, we're going to talk to Jessica about the PR side because she really makes you even more fabulous and lets the whole world know how fabulous you are. But yes, when people come to me, a lot of times, like I have one client, she's just got so much personality. She is like a big light. And I mean, now she has people dressing up like her for Halloween because she's that type of personality. But she needed to
God.
own that. She needed to own all of her weirdness. She needed to own all of her bigness. And the more you do that, that is something that you can activate because you may think you weren't born like that. You may think that. But just because you have that desire to be seen, to be heard, to be recognized, that lets you know that that is within you and that it gets to be activated. And we are the people that you come to activate it.
Yes, exactly. Which you're very balanced in your offer because you combine the woo with the do, whereas me, I only have the do to offer. I'm sorry.
Well, you know what? I believe you just naturally will do the woo piece, right? Because you'll probably have like we'll talk about some of your offers, but I'm sure like even when you're offering PR, there's probably a piece of mindset, there's probably a piece of energetics that you need to have them have in order for you to get the pieces selected and for people to be like, "Oh, I do want to focus on this person." Because if they're like wah 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 wah, it's still like, nobody wants to focus on you. Nobody wants
Absolutely.
you can do all the things, you have all the magic in the world, but if they are not there energetically, that's not going to work. So I'm sure there's pieces of what you do, but
Mhm.
yes, I love to combine the woo and the do because I know that that's how that's how you really skyrocket. We can do one side, like I could do all of the strategic piece, I can do all the planning, we can do that, but the piece that's really going to make it like go is the piece when you're doing the energetics, when you've done the inner work, when you've decided who you are. I love to call it spiritual power because I mean superpower because you're combining your personal power and doing the thing, and you're including the magic and the miracles from God, universe, sugar daddy, sugar mama, goddess, whatever you want to call that energy. You're allowing that energy to lead you forward. But I know, like, tell us more about what happens. Like, if you have a client like that's coming to you and they want to be seen everywhere, they want to be known, they want to be recognized. What are some of the first things that you do with them? And what, like, can anybody come to you and say, I want to be known everywhere? Or do they have to have
Mhm.
some sort of fame themselves before they enter into your world?
Well, that's a very good question. So first of all, maybe I should preface this by saying that I have two arms of my business. So number one, and you will see it on LinkedIn, I work with CEOs and C-suite leaders, and my slogan there is what is it? Is elevating executive image to enhance corporate strategy. So that is one side. But this is not what I do on Instagram and on Facebook. What I do on Instagram and Facebook is to work with coaches. And so I have developed a little bit of a, let's say, a few avatars, maybe archetypes as well. I don't know. But basically, it's an ascension path to become the rich and famous coach. So I'm just going to mention the 5 steps so that it's clearer where we're actually operating. So number one is the coach, the emerging coach. Maybe they don't have a lot of visibility or influence. They don't have a lot of, they're not really established financially either. They're just starting out, right? So number two, the second phase is, what is it? Is the influential coach. Maybe they're getting traction on social media, but it's not that they have, regular clients. Then dimension, step number three is the established coach or the monetized coach, or what can we call it as well, like the profitable coach as well. And step number 4, so basically they have the influence of social media, they have the income as well coming from their work. Then step number 4 is the recognized leader in their field. And step number 5 is a rich and famous coach. Okay, so the transformation that I offer usually is from step 3 to step 4. And from step 4 to step 5. So there are 2 tiers, right? So okay, we have a comment. Hi, Christine. Christine
Hi.
here. Christine.
Welcome, Christine. We're talking about rich and famous, manifesting your rich and famous life with Jessica. And Jessica is speaking about how this phases that she takes her PR clients through. So you said phase 3 to 4 to 5, correct? Okay. So you have the one that's making a little bit of money and now they're ready to become like kind of like infamous or whatever. And then from there, they're ready to become rich and famous, right? So tell me
Famous.
more.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, from step number 3 to step number 4, right? Step number 3 is the established coach, and so it's actually they're doing well, right? It's not that they need to increase their visibility and to increase their income. They are actually, leading a nice lifestyle. They could even stop here. A lot of people want to stop here, right? But there's a category of people that want to go to the next level, which is, okay, I am operating in this industry and now I want to be recognized as one of the leaders of this industry. Now, if we think of our industry and we think of the leaders, who are they? They're Melanie Anley, Shoshana Raven,
Christine
Esther
Michelle.
Jinjin, Chrissy Michelle, exactly. And then we have Bridget as well, like all of these, right? Exactly. So we know immediately that they are leaders in their field, you included. And so, of course, like they're top of mind. So if we want to become top of mind as well, that doesn't mean that we have to do it. We don't have to. It
It's
goes
a
into
desire.
yeah, the ambition, the desire, the potential, right? And it's about the fame, but it's about the impact as well. You want to make more impact within your industry. And we know, though, that if you have more visibility and credibility and goodwill and precision, all of that, all of these synonyms that we use a lot in public relations, then of course there will be, there will be byproducts when it comes to your finances as well. Of course, if you are going to be recognized as a leader in your field, then of course you are going to monetize more as well. But actually, let's say the main goal is actually to have more visibility, more credibility, to have more impact in your industry, right? And it's imperative to specify here, Chrissy Michelle, that we are going to be recognized, because a lot of people, like everywhere, when people talk about, let's say not recognition, but maybe some level of influence, they always talk about positioning yourself as a leader in your field, which doesn't mean that you are one. Even if you are positioned well to become one of the leaders in your field, doesn't mean. So positioning is the domain of branding, and we definitely need to have good positioning and branding. We need to create a brand that makes sense, that is relevant, okay? But then the next step is recognition, and recognition is the domain of public relations, right? And so it means to be recognized by other players in your field, by the other leaders in your field as well. And there are different techniques, different strategies in order, which is quite complex and sophisticated. And I'm happy that it's that way, because otherwise I wouldn't have a job. Like, this is my job. This is what I've always been doing, right? This is why publicists have a job. There is a special strategy that we use in order for somebody to be perceived as a leader in their field. Awesome. Now, the next step, 4 to 5, is, okay, we have become recognized leaders in our field, but we want to go beyond our field.
Right.
And this is where we become rich. Okay, rich we were already, but we can become even richer. But then we become famous in the sense that we are, transcending our industry, transcending our field. And if you see somebody who's covered in the general press and in the press of general press or media, and in the press or media of different industries as well, right? That is somebody that is considered to be famous, perceived to be famous. And that is a different strategy, again, to get there, right? So the strategy that takes you from step number 3 to step number 4 is different from the strategy that takes you from step number 4 to step number 5. And that is why I have 2 tiers of people that I work with. Doesn't mean that I only work with those people. No, because I've had clients who were starting out from nothing. So they were in corporate and they were like, no, now I want to build my personal brand, build my thought leadership and so on. We started from them, right? And so we created everything from scratch. And then we got to the point as well where we were, of course, featured in the media, and interacting with the key players and the leaders in their field, which has a lot to do with networking, blah blah blah. So I'm not gonna say anything more because the methodology is quite complex, it's quite articulate, so I don't want to confuse you. But the strategy, just so you know, these are two different strategies, right? Like depending on where you want to get. And of course, if you get to step number from 3 to 4, then you can go from 4 to 5, not a problem.
Right. No,
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. I was in marketing for a very long time with the Coca-Cola company and with Victoria's Secret. And when you think about like we think about the stages we used to take some of the models on, right? Whether they were new models to, becoming the angels or whatever. There are certain things that you have to take them through and certain things that they get to do and where we get to place them in specific places so that they could be known right throughout the industry. And so that's what it's really fun when you think about it. And I always love like the work that I do, especially within the transformational industry. I love to bring things outside of our industry into whatever we're teaching. And I love that like most of my clients are across multiple different industries. And it's because you have a different viewpoint and you're going to look at things in a more expanded way versus looking at it within the bubble of just where you are.
Mm.
And so, what I love about like the step 5, you're like, it is about transcending the industry and becoming known not just for within your industry or within other people within your industry but outside of your industry. And I was just talking about to my clients recently in the mastermind, we were talking about how it's so cool to see coaches, mentors starting to and be included in different reality shows like Jersey Shore, Family Vacation. They just had the guy who was doing like this rage ceremony and a breathwork ceremony and different things like that, which is just so cool to experience that. And so there's more where that came from. There's more of being included in the housewives. Like I love to include like entertainment, like pop culture entertainment in what I do. And to think of like going on Watch What Happens Live and being the person on the bartender, like those type of things, like those are things that are going to elevate you outside of just that bubble. And that's what Jessica does to help you become that rich and famous, like you said, coach. And so when we talk about manifesting that piece, right? So what are some of the things that you've done to really connect and manifest the rich and famous life for yourself?
Well, actually, this is something that I wanted to ask you. Because when it comes to manifestation, I am at 0, or maybe I know 2 or 3%. And you're the queen of manifestation. I was like, okay, I know the strategy. Let's hear the energetics of this. But to be honest with you, so it's funny because I'm going to give the word to you in a second, but just to answer your question from my perspective, I think that I have done a little bit of everything. I've done the future self, like embodying my future self. I've done it. I already did like 10 years ago without even knowing what this was because I was not in the manifestation industry. um it has worked, but then there have been moments, especially recently as well, Christy Michelle, where I was very much in the moment because I discovered a new band, a new K-pop band, right? This is my passion, Korean language, K-pop, K-drama, and so on. I discovered a new the Stray Kids, and I was so immersed in their music for a week that I couldn't do anything else than dancing. I really didn't do anything else. I just took a few calls, and then the rest of the time I was dancing, wasn't even sleeping, and I was constantly in the moment. And then I realized, I was like, why do we constantly have to live in the future? Let's, of course, we have to, pave the way in order for us to have a good future. But at the same time, let's live in the moment. Because then when I look back in 10 years, I look back, yeah, when I was 42, I didn't even enjoy the moment. I wasn't even enjoying the fact that I was 42, and that had some advantages as well, of course, right? And so I was like, so I was a little bit confused with this, and I was like, I don't know what to do. And I talked to you, and you said, no, that's why I don't talk about the future self. I talk about the higher self. Yes, so this is all I know about manifestation, how to get there. Okay, so the higher self is rich and famous. This is what I can conclude. Okay, so embody your higher self, and your higher self is rich and famous. Now, the details, please illuminate us with the details, with the manifestation details, Christine Michelle.
Okay, no, I love that. I love that question. Okay, so let's talk about manifesting your rich and famous life. So, what we get to do, I like to not talk about future stuff because that just keeps putting it off, 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 right? Putting it into the
Mm,
future.
yeah.
You get to live your best life now and be that person now,
Mm,
which means, because in order for you to have become the person in the future, you have to have chosen that now.
yeah.
Okay. And so if everything you described about the K-pop band and like living in the moment and enjoying the music, that was you being your future self right now. Future self, whatever. So, like that was you being your highest expression of you right now. And
Mm,
so what if that was enough? You know what I mean? So when I think about, okay, so let's talk about, give me an example of how would you describe your future self? Like how describe that, and then I'm going to give you some ideas of how you're already that person right now, and then
mhm.
some differences that also align you and collapse time so that you start to see some of the things that are happening in the future start to happen now.
Oh my God, we're having a demo, a live demo. Okay, so does it have to be in line with Rich and Famous,
Whatever
or can I
you
put
want.
it in general?
Everything
Yeah.
about you is going to be fabulous, rich, and famous, so it doesn't matter.
Ah, okay. Well, thank you very much. So, of course, rich and famous, of course, but then there's more to it as well. I would say very impactful. Well, super connected. I'm already super connected, but even more connected, I would say. And then impactful in that, I want to make millions in order to donate them. That is my
Okay.
goal and my purpose in life. And so, my future self or my higher self is constantly donating left and right, especially to the causes that are dear to me, which
Okay.
are animal rights. Yes. So I think that would make me very, very happy already.
I love it.
Without,
Okay. I'm
yeah.
going to repeat and then you're going to tell me more. So your most expanded highest timeline, you are donating to animal rights, you are enjoying your life. Like what does work look like?
Work looks like similar to what is happening now, but maybe, two masterminds, like the two levels from 3 to 4 to 4 to 5.
Okay.
And then one-to-one clients as well. Yeah, maybe the retreat, like my yearly retreat, or more retreats than one per year all around the world. But I see myself as well really collaborating with animal rights organizations as well. And I would like for it to be part of my, maybe not daily schedule, but weekly schedule as well. And something that is starting for me as well is to be a board member, like on boards as well. So I can imagine that as well, picture that as well.
Okay.
Yes, so this is what work would look like.
All right. Okay. So let's tap into the Jessica who is, an animal rights, contributing to animal rights. She is doing that on a more consistent basis. You're on boards, the right boards to make a difference, the way you want to make a difference. You have 2 mastermind levels. You're doing some one-to-one with some amazing people, and your people are being placed in getting the most amazing placements, and you're like boom, right? So you're just so excited about what's going on. All right, so the way you get to tap into that energy, what does that you feel like give me some, maybe 3 descriptions of like what that you feels like.
Okay. I'm feeling fulfilled. I'm feeling useful as well.
Mhm.
I'm making a difference. I'm making an impact. And I'm feeling light, peaceful
Okay.
as well.
All right, so fulfilled, you're making an impact, so useful,
Useful.
and you're feeling light. Okay, so when you're tapping into that as you're now, like who you are now, the
Mm-hmm.
easiest ways to start doing that is one, focus on feeling fulfilled, feeling light, and feeling useful, like feeling all of this, right now, which is the K-pop dancing and feeling light and feeling all that. That's you being your that self right now. And then also setting it up so that, like, okay, you may not be able to do millions to animal rights charities, but you can do $1, you can do $20 or euros, you can do that now. And so why not start doing that now? You probably are, I'm just saying. So you're already being that person. You said fulfilled, you said useful. You're already being useful. You get to remind yourself, I'm already useful. I do daily lives for 763 days. I can't remember how many days, but it's like you do daily lives. You're giving every single day. Do it in the energy of, like, before you start the live. This is what I do. We've been talking about $10 million me, or now $1 billion me, I've been talking about, but tap it in a $10 million me. I like tap into that energy, and I like come here shoulders back, like really confident in the way I get to show up. And I know that as I'm speaking, this is the way $10 million me. If I had 10 millions in my bank account, I'd be doing it now. And so enjoying your life now, focusing on those three like energies and doing whatever you can to feel lighter, feel fulfilled, and feel like so excited about your life and like your impact, making an impact. That's how you be that you now. It's not about looking into the future, but it is about deciding and making decisions in that. So now the do piece would be, we sit here, you're doing something, or let's say someone says, hey, I'd love to do a live stream with you, I'd love to talk about some things. You get to tap in and you get to say, okay, what does the me who is like doing the animal rights and doing all the things, what does she decide in this moment? Is this a yes? Like, is it feeling like a yes? Let's say if you are not feeling so good, and then you're like, okay, does the me just show up, do what she needs to do, and then go back and lay down? Like, you're just making choices from that more expanded viewpoint, so that you're not doing the same things with the energy of the old you and who you were. You're deciding that this is who you are now. It's the same with deciding that you get to be successful no matter what, deciding that things are unfolding, deciding that that vision is already set, and every step that you're taking is bringing you down the path to that. And so that's how easy it can be. It doesn't mean that now everything you're like future me. If you know, that's who you are. It's not future, it's you are already. That I always like to say, there's 4 ways in identity work. I did this identity code, and there's the decode. So it's like, how am I already that person? You're already showing up live, you're already giving to animal rights, or you care about animal rights. What is a way to up level? The way you can recode it is like, okay, what ways am I not being her? What ways am I not showing up? What ways am I not walking and talking and being confident and having the conviction that this is me? And then you recode that. And then you get to integrate all of those other things into your daily life to decide that this is you, and you don't need the proof of the millions in the bank account in order to do that.
Oh, I love this. This is a coaching session, a live coaching session and demo. And so I feel so lucky. I think everybody who's watching us now are like, oh, I want to do a live stream with Christine Michelle as well, so that I get coached.
I'm actually going to be offering that soon. But that's how simple it gets to be, because I know sometimes we get in our heads, but there's ways that you're already that person, and you get to say, all I'm doing is up leveling my energy, and I'm becoming aware and calling it out and acknowledging that this is already who I am. And the only thing that is delayed is the money that's flowing in. It's starting, like, it's already unfolding.
Yeah.
When you get to remember that the spiritual world, when you decide something, so everything you just told to me, you've decided that it's something that you get to experience. It's already happened in the spiritual world. That's the 90% of that. And so all it takes is now this physical world to catch up. And the way you expedite it catching up is to decide that that's already you now, and taking action in the feeling of it's already mine.
Yeah.
Dancing to your K-pop, enjoying your life, continuing showing up live, being more convicted with this is who I am.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it gets to be.
This is amazing, Christine Michelle, because that it feels a lot like living in the moment as well, right? Yes. So it's a
Living in your
perfect solution
now.
to the dilemma that I illustrated, right? Yeah, definitely. I think this is something that we need to talk about more. I mean, probably I won't talk about it myself that much, maybe every now and then on some live streams, but I feel that this is something that people really need you to talk about more, because there's a lot of misconception and confusion around this now. Okay, yeah, do I have to be my future self now, like the person I'm going to be in 5 years and so on? And then I'm really, really scared that people won't enjoy that they, that they're present. Which is it a problem that you've seen, that you have, observed?
Well, so in
What
my spaces, because I try to always make sure people are understanding. So I taught in my $10 million me the slip space method. And
Yeah.
so the slip space method was to understand like where you want to go and then up level it and then up level it and then just skip the middle, like skip all the things in between. And so what it's doing is it's saying that, okay, I would like, let's say, okay, so I'll give you an example. So if I say, okay, I'd love to have a $2.5 million year. What's bigger than that? A $5 million year. And then I said, what's even bigger? A $10 million year. And so I say, okay, instead of focusing on the 2.5 and the 5, I'm just going to say, who do I need to be to receive the 10 and start being her today and start living my life like her today. And
Yeah.
so I always in my spaces, I'm saying that's what you get to be today. Like that's the way you get to make your decisions today. So for example, I shifted my entire offer suite to be able to support 8,000 people in it. So that means that instead of doing yeah, instead of doing like for example my Be Collective, I had all of these calls and I was doing so much and I was like, would I be able to support 1,000 people in it? And that's a part of $10 million me's vision. And I was like, no. I said, so what is the best container that's going to be amazing that I know I could support 10,000 people? I mean, well, hey, 10,000 that I could support 1,000 people in,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't be like exhausting. So I shifted that.
Mm-hmm.
Then I had my Quantum Queen. I was like, I would love 200 people in it. Is it created to hold 200 people? And I was like, no. What are the ways that I could do it to make it where it's easier for me to hold that? Do you see how like it's in my now moment? I'm just making decisions so that it can easily up level to that, not changing. Like I'm enjoying my life. I'm still doing the same programs, but I'm making decisions from that higher
Yes.
decision, from that
Yes.
perspective. And so when you enter in my containers, it's not about trying to be someone you're not. It's about bringing that reality, bringing those decision levels, bringing that leadership, bringing that, your self, like for example, your self concept as the $10 million woman is probably going to be different than it is at the $600,000 woman, right? And so what are the things that I'm saying to myself? What are the thoughts that I would be having as that? And I'm going to start having those now. I'm going to start saying I'm a badass. I'm going to start saying I'm the bougie person. I'm going to start saying I'm the Beyonce of my industry now. I'm going to start saying that I'm the sexiest woman now. You see, so it's so I haven't seen in my containers because that people are so far out, like trying to be something that they're not and feeling like stressed. I make sure we bring it into your now so that every time you're moving, every step you're taking, all the fun that you're having, you know that that is all contributing to your desired destination because it is already done. It is a scenario that you put in the GPS. You're already driving towards it. Even if you take detours, it is where you're going. And you get to decide that it gets to happen and it's happening through you. And there is nothing that you can do wrong that would deter that.
Awesome. So we have what's it called? Not the chat GPT. The GPT. No, no. What is it? What is it? What did
Oh,
you
the
say?
GPS. The
The
GPS.
GPS.
So
Oh my
the GPS,
God. Yes, exactly.
like in
We
your car. So
brainwashed
like
by
in my
chat GPT.
Tesla.
GPS, exactly. A Tesla, yes, for certain, absolutely. Okay, great. So, perfect. And time is the only variable, right? It's certainly going
Yes,
to
and
happen.
then
We don't
really
know
like
when
I like to
exactly.
say time is a construct, right? So time measures your length of time. It measures you going from space to space, right? That's what we created as man. And you know that time can feel super fast and time can feel super slow. And so what I do is I say, stop worrying about the time. You have the destination. It will unfold and it's going to unfold faster if you're not worried about when. And so that's why I take out the first two, like the of course, and then the stretch, right? I take out those two because you're focused on the more expanded envision.
Yeah.
You have to to hit 2.5 before you hit 5. You have to hit 5 before you hit 10. So it's not about like how long is it going to take. It's just about I'm being me and I'm her now, and I get to let reality to catch up, right? And there's
Yeah.
so many fun ways and so many fun tools that I have so that you can like build on it and feel it happening now, and you can like collapse time between things that you've done, and then all of a sudden you see it happening totally there. But if we forget about time and just let time catch up to what we already know is done, it'll happen a lot faster.
Yeah, totally. I love this. On this note, Chrissy Michelle, would you care to share your the story about your bed?
Oh, so the funniest thing, okay, so when I
I love this
started,
guy.
I have this bed. It was like a $4,000 bed that I bought, but it was like in 2012, right? Gorgeous bed, wood around it. It was so beautiful. And so, but when I entered into January, that's when I was tapping into $10 million me. Something just felt like it's time for that bed to go away. And so, instead of waiting to buy a new bed and then getting rid of it, I got rid of it was a 400-pound bed. I just called the people. I had, the donation place come take the bed apart. So I'm sleeping on, my king mattress on the floor for a bit until I really felt like it was time. Like until I felt like it was time to get a bed. And so it was funny because I had a call with someone and they were like, well, I love to, be expanded or whatever and work with people that feel more expanded. And I don't, why are you sleeping on the floor? And I'm like, okay, my king size bed is on the floor in my, several $1,000 a month condo, and with my view of the the lake, and and I drive a Tesla. So it's not that I'm broke. It just what didn't feel led. I didn't feel led to buy the bed. And
Yeah.
so, but it was coming to, I knew it was going to come, and it was a little bit, maybe it was like a month or two ago. I knew, okay, it's time. And guess what? As soon as I like opened it and I saw, I was like, this is the bed. And so I went ahead and I bought the bed, and because I knew it was time. But I followed my intuition. I love to call it the inner God voice. I followed my inner God voice and I let the bed go. And you know what? When I let that bed go,
Mhm.
it felt so light. I felt like, oh my goodness. And then when it was time for me to get a one, it didn't feel as light. Like when it was time to get a new one, it felt it's time to
Yeah.
get a new bed. And it was funny. I had another, I did some Reiki with one of my clients. She's amazing. And she was like, you're feeling it. It's time to get a new bed, right? And I was like, yep, you knew it. So she knew. She was like, yes, it's time for the support to come. And so
Mhm.
then I bought a bed, and I feel like a lot of times when we're looking for mentors or coaches, if you're using like superficial things and you don't understand the whole story, then
Mm.
you will see that you're not going to be in alignment with your most expanded version of who you are.
Yeah.
And so that's why my places are non-judgmental. People love to work with me because I see you and I see also beyond you, like where you want to
Yeah.
go. And I don't care if what has happened to you in the past, I don't care where you are now. I know that the sky, there's not even a limit. Like I know that there are no limitations to where you get to go. And so, what we get to do, especially if you're manifesting rich and famous, first you have to see what judgments you have about rich and famous people. Because if you have any judgments about rich and famous people, or you don't like the Kardashians, or you don't want to be around all these people, and oh, she's just doing that because she wants to be famous. If there's anything that you're saying, you're separating yourself from that manifestation, point blank, period. If you are judging anyone, you're separating yourself from what they have that you see that you want. And so, that's the first thing I would do to shift, is to see where do I have judgments? Where do I not feel like I'm good enough or that they're good enough to have what they have, so that you can come to a neutral, clean, clear space and you can really start to take the steps towards what you really desire.
Yeah.
And so, yes, that's the bed. We got a new one too. Let's see. Can you guys see it? That's the new bed.
Wow, wow, it looks so elegant and huge, really king size.
I love a king size bed, y'all.
Yeah. Do you sleep in the middle or on the side?
Okay, so I sleep, usually it's so funny. I sleep on the right side all the time. And I was like, I need to start either sleeping on the left or like balance it out. Because there's going to be a time where there's going to be a sexy, gorgeous, very wealthy, tall, sexy man with a really British accent that I'm going to be in love with. And he's going to want to sleep on the bed. So I need to be okay sleeping on either side so that when he comes, he can fit right in.
That's exciting. Yeah, this is manifestation as well, isn't it?
Yes, it totally is. It
Totally.
totally Oh my God. I could talk to you for hours on hours on hours. This
Me
was
too.
such a great conversation. Did you now? I want to ask you before we're going first, how are you feeling now about tapping into your most expanded version? Does it feel as limiting?
No, it doesn't. Of course, it is something that I have to look into a little bit more and try on, so to say, as a try on, probably like a skirt or a dress or something, right? Yes. And so it will take maybe a few days or weeks. But right now, it feels really, really good. And I like that I said, I feel useful. I feel, what did I say also? I don't remember, but I also feel light.
Light.
Yes. And I think this is key because it's a lightness that we spoke about when we were talking about, being in the moment, for example, while dancing to K-pop, for example, right? And I feel that this is something that I have been missing over the past few months. And so this is something that I'm really looking forward to, like lightness and spontaneity and yes, with the impact as well. So it feels really, really good at the moment, and I'll keep you posted about the developments. Thank you so much.
Yes, keep me posted. And the lightness, you do these daily live streams. Bring that lightness into it
Mm.
because, like, the lightness and the impact, that's where it will come together.
Mhm.
And I know sometimes it can feel like, because you're committed, like, it can probably feel a little heavy and it can feel like, oh my God, right? But I want you to come in it light. Like, if you need to put your K pop song on and dance before you start it, like come in with this light energy and remember that that's already who you freaking are, right? Remember that. And one thing that helps my clients really like tap into their next level identity is they give it a name, right? And so if it's going to be, you could say light J Fab or fun and easy J Fab or whatever it gets to be, like whatever that light name is, because like I've had clients, she was like human design guru, and then it was maybe 3 minutes in, everybody was calling her the human design guru because she decided that was hers. Then she changed to the copy queen. Now everybody knows her as the copy queen. So it's just about like giving, like putting it in a container and containerizing it or whatever, and like putting it in a container with a name, and then just activating that name and calling yourself this every single day, like $10 million me is the way to like activate yourself, as if like activating yourself into that identity and just being that all day. So
Yes.
give it a name and play.
Actually, that was the purpose of calling myself JFab, which I
I
chose 2 years ago. But now probably I have to choose, I don't know, like another version of JFab, like JFab or JFab 2.0 or something. Yes.
oh, I
So
like
yeah,
it.
I will update it. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. What is your name? So the,
I
the million,
10
10 million.
What I've been paying it with is $10 million
Million.
me. So 10 million me, $10 million me, the $1 million
Mm.
woman. And then lately it's been coming out $1 billion woman. So I was like, all right, the billion, but $1 billion woman. Like, what does that look like? What does that feel like? And but it really like the impact is,
The impact.
the impact that's equal to a $10 million year.
Mm.
All of those things all folded into that, like the confidence, the conviction, the knowing that like my clients get epic results, like those type of things. It just puts me in that energy, and that's the energy that I lock into before I do a live,
Yeah.
before I like create anything, before I do anything. That's the energy.
Yes, and it's amazing, and we can feel it. So well done.
No,
It's
thank you. Thank you. Well, I love to have this. Please tell everyone where they can find you and where they can learn more about the things that you do.
Yes, so we can talk a lot about strategy, personal PR strategy, right? Uh, at jfab.relations, which is my handle here on Instagram. I think it's the easiest to find me because you probably just have to click on my name and then you will like to touch my name and then you will find my profile immediately. How about you, Christine Michelle? It's probably the same thing, right? So people,
Yes,
my audience, just gonna find you with your name. Okay.
100%. Find me by clicking on my name. I'm I.M.the aligned soul, and you'll find all the things, the stories, the highlights, like all the things.
Yes. Oh my God, it is such a good conversation because we had the do and the woo and the do from multiple perspectives, the do from two perspectives, and the woo from your perspective. I learned so much. Thank you so much. Guys, if you fancy part two, let us know. What do you think, Christy Michelle? Would you like to do a part two later this
I
month
think
or
we should
later this summer?
definitely should do a part two. This was so good. There's so much more. And what we can do is bring in, like, as you're playing with this, all of the stuff that's come up, and then we'll find some more ways to play with rich and famous.
Absolutely, yes. Oh my God, I can't wait. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you for having me too. And I will see you for part two in a couple months.
Yes, absolutely. Take care, Christy Michelle, and everybody. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.